focused on moving forward and still seeing the season through?
I think it's a competitive group. They love playing basketball, and obviously this is a lot of adversity because you're trying to replace more than just a leading scorer. She's our best defender, best rebounder, ball handler, pass. She did everything for us. But I think our team, I think what you have to do here, you got to love playing and you got to love competing. And, you have to look at this is our opportunity. And, no one wants to do it without Jordan, but that's the hand we're dealt at this point.
Maria.
Coach, because the previous video froze, I'm not sure how much of your answer we got recorded. Just the update on Jordan Horston and if the door remains open at all in any way to get her back this season.
Okay. So Jordan, with the update on Jordan, it is a fractured dislocation of the elbow, and she will be out a few weeks for sure. And I don't know how many weeks that will be, because the most important thing for us right now is to make sure that her injury has time to heal. And unfortunately, you can't put a timeline on that. We'll have to see the progress, and we will monitor it frequently in the next month. But, at this point, I think you're really pushing it with the season winding down. But I suppose at this point, the door would still be open.
Reese.
Kellie, how much more important is it? And I know you've been preaching this all season, but how much more important is it for you to get the ball into the post now with your star guard out for a foreseeable future? Well,
I think what Jordan did was she was able to create a lot of opportunities, whether that be within our offense or off of broken plays as well. So, we always talk about wanting to utilize our post game. I think it's important that we continue to do that. We're going to have to look at some tweaks, I think, to give our team a little bit more to work with on the court. But obviously, in terms of the importance, honestly, it's not changed. It's been important. It's going to remain important that we're able to get the ball inside.
Cora.
Obviously, the timing of this overall isn't great, but given that, was on the road Thursday and I have 2 days before your next game against South Carolina, how difficult is that to adjust like that on the fly to someone who is such an integral part of your team?
Yeah, you really need quite a bit of time to work on this one. I think what you're working from here from Thursday to Sunday, you've got 3 things. One, you want to correct some things that we didn't do well on Thursday. You want to prepare for playing South Carolina. And then you've got to figure out what our team needs to do without Jordan Horston. So there's a lot of things there that need to go into these 2 days. And also, we had some weary legs too. So we also had to make sure they had their legs under them. So in a short time, so you're not going to overhaul things. We don't have the ability to overhaul things at this point, but just try to give ourselves a few tweaks here and there that can help.
Maria.
Coach, a team is running on fumes by late February anyway, and then you add, of course, quite an emotional blow to the team. Where is the team at right now? Have you had time to assess that?
Yeah, we had a really good discussion on Friday, and just needed to talk and vent and just be together. I think one of the things that didn't go well after a couple of our losses, we had scheduled off days the day after, and so we weren't able to get together and kind of process the losses, so to speak. And sometimes when you have you want to be together, you want to be with your teammates to do that. And fortunately, we were able to bring them in on Friday, and we were able to kind of talk and assess where we're at honestly. And openly. And I thought they walked out on the court. We weren't out on the court very long on Friday at all, but I thought when they were out there, they were really good. And I thought today's court work was really good as well. I think, they had a great mindset and, giving us effort and giving us focus.
Reese.
Kellie, sometimes the hardest part about an injury is staying mentally engaged. How is Jordan doing with all this news surrounding that mentally?
Yeah. The thing about Jordan, she won't have a problem staying engaged with the team. I told her she's probably gonna be crazy on the sideline. She'll be vocal and loud. She'll be right in the middle of everything. But this is a difficult blow for any athlete. I mean, she loves playing basketball, and she is such a competitor. So now it's taken away. It's very difficult. It's hard to manage your emotions during that time. And then in addition to the actual injury, right? You're dealing with that as well. So, we've got to help support her through during this time.
Maria.
Coach, obviously college game day, it's senior day for South Carolina. There's enough around this game already. And then the challenge of playing South Carolina at any time, but especially right now. What is your team facing on both ends of the court for this game?
Well, it's a huge challenge, Maria. Obviously, I think that's an understatement. You talk about what they do offensively. They play their parts. They know their roles and they play their roles. They do a great job of doing what they do well, whether that's getting the ball inside, putting the ball on the floor, taking open shots. They know how to have patience and find what they're looking for. And then if they miss, they're amazing on the offensive boards. They just really get to the glass consistently, relentlessly, and really get a lot of their points and get a lot of their production by crashing the boards. You go to the defensive end, they don't give up anything. They just don't give up anything. And you're going to face size, you're going to face athleticism and physicality, and it's also feels pretty relentless. So I think that I didn't even mention their transition game, their transition offense. Obviously, they're well known for their transition game. So they're playing well right now and playing with great confidence. We know it's a challenge. Obviously, we get that. Like you said, anytime you play South Carolina, it's going to be a challenge.
Cora.
Kellie, you and Jordan have such a close relationship, and I know as a coach that obviously can't be easy to see, a player like that go down. How have you been doing? How is your relationship with her, and how are you kind of trying to, move through this right now yourself?
Yeah, I think I think right now it's hard. It's hard to see her and just know what she's done this season and how well she's been, how consistent she's been, and what she could still do. And then to see that taken away, it's really painful. It's hard because as an athlete, or as a former athlete, I should say, I've been there. I know what that feels like, and it just doesn't seem fair, But the other side of me, the coach, I've got a lot of players, and I've got a lot of players that need me right now, and we've got to be there for them and continue to push them, and make sure that they're as prepared as they can be.
Maria.
Coach, you said you enjoyed bringing Ray Burrell off the bench because of the pop that gave you. I mean, presumably she's one of your options, of course, now to start. Who would you look to on the bench now to provide that spark?
Well, we're gonna have to dig a little deeper, and I think Kai is going to have some opportunities to come in and help us at the guard spot, and then you've got Caroline Striplin and you've got Emily Saunders that could come in, we can slide some folks around. And Jessie's been tough and she's a veteran. So at this point, it's all hands on deck.
And a quick
Cora.
follow-up, you've always said this team plays better when it plays together and sticks with what you're trying to do. How important will it be for your team to stay on script, particularly to open this game?
Well, I think you've got to be able to play through adversity. You've got to be able to make next plays. So if something goes wrong, you can't let that snowball into 3 wrongs. You've got to correct it and you got to make a play. So I think that is going to be about as important as anything. Early on, just hanging in there and finding some positive plays. Because then if you do that, you can settle down. And I think that's going to be really important early on.
Cora.
So your team went through losing a beloved player in Kean Green, and Jordan Horston is very much a beloved player on that team by everybody. Do you feel like maybe they're prepared for the emotional side of this after losing Kean, or is that something that you can never really adjust to?
Well, I think the challenge emotionally will be for the team. You just lost 2 of your leaders, and I think that's that was such a missing piece with Kean not being on the court, and Jordan is one of those for us. So now we're down 2 of those people. So that's where you lose a little bit of your emotion, or you can let your emotions get carried away. They love all their teammates. So, this is going to be hard for them, but I also think, because they've seen what happened with Kean, I think they understand we got to dial it right back in and get as focused as we can possibly be. She's not going to play tomorrow. I mean, it's not going to happen. And so, you've got to be able to move on and start finding some ways to have success with it, with a different group.
All right, we'll wrap up with a final question from Maria.
Sorry, I was muted there. You've mentioned that this team, there's a lot left to play for. I mean, you're still battling for a top 4 seed in the SEC. You're still battling for postseason seeding. Do you feel like other players on this team can elevate their level of competition and or be more competitive, or be more, say, like a Jordan or a Kean, to keep this team on track to what its preseason goals were?
I think there are areas that individually we can improve. I think there are areas that our team can still improve. We've got a few players. Brooklyn Miles is not going to grow into Jordan Horston's body. There are certain things that are not going to happen. But I think for us, we just, as a staff, we've got to now figure out what this team is going to look like moving forward successfully. And our team just has to respond. It's basketball at the end of the day, and this is the unfortunate side of athletics is our injuries. And when you lose players, but no one feels sorry for us. They hate it for Jordan, but they don't. I mean, they're just next game up. So for us, you've got to go out and you've got to find ways to compete. Can't back down. You just got to keep fighting, and I'm very confident that the group we have in there will do that.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and for sticking with us through our Wi-Fi issues.
Thank y'all.